Okay, this is going to be the second video with the 3.1 law of sines. And this video focuses specifically on side angle triangles. Because this is an ambiguous case, when you try and solve this type of triangle, there are three possibilities. The information works for one triangle, the information works for two triangles, or it doesn't work at all. So I'm going to go through each example and show you why it works. So when we're talking about a side angle triangle, you have to look and see if there's, you have to do a little bit of extra work. Now, I did make a video in my graduate class that explains the reasoning behind it, but I will post that in a separate video because it doesn't work in this particular program. So whenever you want to find if there's an extra triangle, draw and label it, then solve the first triangle, and you're going to figure out if you need to do the second triangle or not. So I'm just going to show you what you need to do for this. So in the first triangle, you have A is 3, B is 2, and alpha is 40. Now you can tell that this is a side angle triangle because of the information that is given to you. So we need to find beta, gamma, and C. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put C, beta, and gamma. Okay, so you start this out the same way as what you would have done before. Find the match. So what I mean by the match is the opposite angle and the opposite side. So that's 40 and 3. So whenever you go to set up your problem, you have sine of 40 over 3. And then the only other piece of information that you can use is the beta in the 2. So you have sine of beta over 2. Okay, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cross multiply. So you get 3 sine of beta equals 2 sine of 40. Now, this is different because now you're looking for an angle. So you have to get that sine of beta by itself, so you have to divide by 3. Now, if you remember from before, sine of beta is an angle. So how do you find an angle? You have to do the inverse. So that is the sine inverse. And this is when you're going to type this whole thing into your calculator. Okay, now you just have to be very cautious when you do this. So you need to do the inverse sine of 2 sine 40. It is very, very important to close that parenthesis after the 40, or it will not work. And then divide by 3. And beta ends up being 25.37. Okay, so here is where you need to figure out if you have 2 triangles or only 1 triangle. So I'm going to do this in a different color. You're basically going to draw yourself another triangle. You're going to use the information that was given. So the 3, the 2, and the 40. But you need to put a new angle in here for beta. And I'm going to call this beta 2. In order to figure out what beta 2 is, you need to see if the angles are going to add up to 180 degrees or not. So beta 2 is going to be 180 minus that 25.37 that you found before. So I'm going to put this as beta 1, so then you know that that's what that is. And when you do that, 180 minus 25.37 is 154.63. So that 154.63 now goes into that second triangle. Okay, so when you go to look at the second triangle, you can see that you have two of the angles, so you can go find the third one, which would be gamma. So if I go and try and find gamma, and I look, 154.63 plus 40 is 194.63. That is over 180. If it's over 180, that means that you do not have a second triangle. So no second triangle, because it doesn't work. So something to note, if this number is less than 180, then you will have two triangles. If it's over 180, then you only have one triangle. So now that there is no second triangle, you can ignore everything that's in this color and go back to finding this first triangle. So I need C and gamma. I can find gamma because I now have the other angle with beta. And here, I'll actually do that so that doesn't confuse you. So back to gamma, you'd have 180 minus 40 minus 25.37. And you end up getting 114.63. Okay, so now you can go find C by setting up another one of these. Use what you were given. So sine of 40 over 3. Since you're looking for the C, you have to use the gamma. So sine of 114.63 over C. Cross multiply. So C sine 40 equals 3 sine 114 divide by sine 40. So in your calculator, 3 sine 114.63, make sure you close that parenthesis, divide by sine 40, and you get 4.24. So this one only had one triangle. Okay, here's the next example. A equals 12, B equals 31, and alpha is 20.5. So we're looking for C, gamma, and beta. Okay, so find your match. So you have sine of 20.5 over 12 equals sine of beta over 31. Cross multiply, so you have 12 sine beta equals 31 sine 20.5. Divide by 12 because we're trying to get that sine beta by itself. Okay, so since you're looking for an angle, you have to do the inverse. So it's the inverse of 31 sine 20.5 over 12. So inverse sine of 31 sine 20.5, close parenthesis, divided by 12. And you get 64.78. Okay, so here's where you figure out if you have two triangles. So if you draw the second triangle, put in the information you were given. So 12, 31, 20.5. To figure out what this beta 2 is, you have to take 180 minus that angle you just found. So that's 64.78. And you get 115.22. Okay, so you need to go see if it can work out. So you're going to add these up. So I'll put second triangle question mark. So 115.22 plus 20.5. And you get 135.72. So this is less than 180. So you have a second triangle. Okay, so you need to finish solving this first triangle and then go finish solving the second triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and not even worry about the second triangle right now and go back to the first triangle. So I found beta as being 64.78. I can now find gamma because I can do 180 minus 20.5 minus 64.78. And I get 94.72. Okay, so now I need to find C. So I'm going to use the same match that I had before. So the sine of 20.5 over 12. But this time I'm going to use the gamma in the C because I have to find C. So sine of 94.72 over C. Cross multiply. And divide. So 12 sine 94.72. Make sure you close that parenthesis. Divide by sine of 20.5. And you get 34.15. Okay, so that is the first triangle. Now we need to go finish solving the second triangle. And I'm going to take this exact triangle in the blue and go to another page. Okay, so I'm gonna have to flip back and forth here to see what I had. I know this was 12, that was 31, that was 20.5. My new beta is 115.22. Okay, so I'm looking for gamma and C. So I found my beta. And you'll find out that this really isn't that much extra work. You already found the beta as being 115.22. So you can go find the gamma by subtracting all of those from 180. And you get 44.28. Okay, now you need to go find C. And you do the same thing. Find your match, which your match is the sine of 20.5 over 12. Now you're going to use gamma. So sine of 44.28 over C. And this is where the repetitious comes in. Cross multiply. So C sine 20.5 equals 12 sine 44.28 divide by sine 20.5. So 12 sine 44.28 divided by sine of 20.5. And you end up getting 23.92. So whenever you have side-side angle triangles, if there is a second triangle, you have to solve it. Okay, let's go on to the next triangle. We have A is 2, C as 1, and gamma as 50. So I need B, alpha, and beta. Okay, so to find my match, I'm going to use sine of 50 over 1. And then the only thing I can find is alpha, so sine of alpha over 2. Cross multiply, so you have 1 sine alpha equals 2 sine 50. Divide by 1. And then since you're looking for the angle, you have to do the inverse. So sine inverse of 2 sine 50. You don't have to divide by 1 there because anything divided by 1 is itself. So inverse sine of 2 sine 50. What ends up happening, your calculator ends up getting a domain error, which means that there is no triangle. Here's why it doesn't work. If I would try and draw this to scale, here's 2. Here's half of it as being only 1. If this needed to be 50 degrees, there is no way that that can make a triangle. So if you get a domain error right off the bat when you're trying to figure out the triangle, your answer is no triangle and you can't go any further with this. Okay, so this video went along with the side-side angle triangles. You had 1 triangle, 2 triangles, or no triangles. So your homework for this is page 268, numbers 18 to 24 and 32.